Georgia Tech's Sports Hall of Fame class for 2024, and it's been a minute. We were just talking before we jumped on here, Amore. I started covering the team like the year after your freshman year on campus, and
Okay.
it's been amazing, like seeing all you guys grow up and people like starting to have their careers and lives and whatever. But I just kind of want to start at the beginning. I think it'll be interesting for people just to hear your story because you're one of the more interesting kids, even from your class. You were recruited by the you came in 2008. You were recruited by the
Yep.
by Chan and his staff, and then
Yep.
committed and stayed with Paul Johnson during that transition, which a lot of people kind of bounced out. Can you just walk me back what it was like going through the recruiting process as a four-star offensive lineman and the fall of 2007?
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to kind of have this conversation with you, of course. And I'm excited to talk a little bit about my life and my career. But first off, I did not commit to GT until Paul Johnson came actually.
Yep.
So just going into my senior year, I told myself that I wait till after the season to make a decision. Unless God led me to another opportunity, of course, to make a decision. But I told myself that I probably wouldn't make a decision till after the season. Our season just kept going and going and going. So it wasn't until early December till our season was over, and unfortunately, Coach Chan Gailey had gotten fired or let go. I think right after the UGA game.
Yeah, that's right. And then they had Tenuta coach the bowl game.
Yep. And there were a lot of speculation about who was going to be picked for the opportunity. I'm not going to lie, I was a Georgia Tech guy through and through. Um, there was a lot of cachet that came with, UGA, just understanding what kind of season they were having. They were number one going into my freshman year. Um, and just understanding the cachet they went with, going to UGA, all the hype around Alabama and what was coming with Alabama, as well as all the individuals that made it to the NFL from UVA. So those are my choices for the most part. UGA kind of backed out once Cordy Glenn committed. That was in November, and they came back a couple times to the school just to test the waters a little bit. But I guess it was one of those things where I needed somebody who wanted me there for sure. So it was really Alabama, UVA, and Georgia Tech where I took my official visits. And it was an exciting opportunity, of course, to take a visit to all of them. I did not know what Alabama was until I actually went to the school that summer before and realized that they had more better facilities, they had more championships, they had more everything than most schools. Even UGA at the time, honestly. So it was pretty exciting to talk to a guy like Nick Saban, who was really interested in me playing O line or maybe D line there. I wanted to be a D lineman, of course, but playing O line there, and coach, of course, Coach Grow as well. Talking to him about opportunity to play football there as well at UVA. So they had the Brickashaw Ferguson, Brandon Albert, Nick Collins was my host when I was there. So all NFL guys, all early picks. And I just knew if I were to go there, I have the opportunity to be there myself, of course. But Georgia boy, Georgia Tech guy. Honestly, from the get go, Calvin Johnson, Reggie Ball, even the '04 basketball team. I think it was '04.
Yeah, the Final Four team. Yeah.
Yeah, their basketball team. Even before then, just my dad being he owned a gift shop way back when. He had like little trinkets and stuff of GT. So just seeing that around the house, I was a GT guy through and through. But yeah. Eventually, the coaching staff came in, met Coach Seawalk. Coach Seawalk was a funny guy. The guy's been in my corner since then. Honestly, he's been very consistent since then, of course. And Coach Johnson, Coach Johnson. Um, he's a funny dude, man. I also feel he's a lot funnier than he's funny unintentionally on the field, but also feel he's a really gregarious guy for sure. So he's a joy to be around. So just kind of showing just kind of speaking with them and whatnot, and just being around them was pretty awesome as well. I got some stories about Alabama and UVA
well,
too, but
well, it's interesting because
I'll
like
skip that
you,
for right now. So
well, it's interesting because like you were there. That was before, it was when Nick came. Right, that was the year '07. He came back from the NFL and went to
right,
Bama, and they were not good.
they weren't
And
bad. They weren't
they
bad, but
weren't bad, but they weren't good. I
they
think.
won like 8 games.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
they lost to Louisiana Monroe or whatever.
Right,
But
right.
people forget Bama had been bad basically since Stallings had left, and
Hmm. Hmm.
they had been down. So it wasn't like walking into Bama like 2 years later or whatever. Like,
I knew they were going to be good. I didn't know they were going to be that good, but just Nick Saban, like Nick Saban is a very matter of fact guy. It was unfortunate that so many people talk bad about him. Of course they won't now because all the ships. But when he first got there, he had just left Miami, and people were talking bad about him left and right just because they were saying he's this kind of guy, that kind of guy, this kind of guy, that kind of guy. But when I spoke to him, he was straight up with me. He said, "Hey, I want you to play online and that D line stuff. I want you to play online. I think you'd be a great player here. You'd be an NFL guy, and if you were fortunate enough to start, you'll be a very good player, of course." And he was straight up with me, and I was like, "Nah, I want to be a DT guy, of course." And I don't regret it at all. But Nick Saban's, he's a great dude to kind of follow as far as leadership and just understanding what it takes to be a great anything, great athlete, great leader, etc. So is Coach Johnson, of course, but just from my experience in Alabama, Nick Saban was a great dude. I got sick on my visit as well, so that was a little bit of an omen. It was a little bit of an omen, and and like I said, I was an Atlanta guy. I'm an Atlanta guy, born and bred, from the music to the food to everything, man. I'm an Atlanta guy, born and bred, so I always wanted to put on for the city, like they say.
it's funny how that kind of some of that worked out. Like Al Groh was recruiting you to Virginia, and then he ends
Hmm.
up coaching on the other side of the ball during your time at Georgia Tech. Like
Hmm.
there's is some interesting symmetry there, and obviously, how much did it kind of impact? Coach Johnson kept Brian Jean Marie. I think he was your lead guy,
Yeah, Coach BJ
and
was a great dude as well. So him recruiting me was a pretty awesome opportunity as well. He was a great dude through and through. And along with that, I would say that even along with that, just like I said, the background from my childhood, playing with them on the game and whatnot. I had three brothers that played NCAA with me, and my older brother right above me used to always pick like a sorry team. Not a sorry team, like a lesser known team.
sure.
Of course, my oldest brother would pick not my oldest brother, but my older brother that's older than my one immediately above me. He used to pick like a really good team, and I used to always pick Georgia Tech. Calvin Johnson, ball. So that was my squad, and like I rolled with them, the whole way through. And along with that, just understanding the class that was coming in as well. Roddy Jones came from our school, Shelby High School, so understanding that he went there. Of course, Josh Nesbitt, Morgan Burnett. I think one of my good friends from high school was like his mom worked with Morgan Burnett's mom at like South Florida Hospital or something like that. And I always followed Morgan's career through North Clayton. So Morgan Burnett was a guy I kind of looked up to and was excited to play with. Josh Nesbitt, like I said, Roddy Jones, man. Roddy Jones, his father and his family kind of had a really big hand in my career growing up and kind of coming up through Shamley High as well as through Georgia Tech. So Roddy Jones and Nick Clater, Guys like that, even Derek Morgan. I didn't know Derek was going to be who he was, but I remember meeting him at my high school like basketball game or something like that, and he was just a cool dude. So
That's awesome.
mhm.
So you get to Georgia Tech in 2008. You don't play as a freshman. Back then, also,
Mhm.
they didn't have the thing where you could play 4 games like they do now and retain your red shirt and all that. But
They had it
um,
before I got there, and then they stopped it, and then they continued it, I guess. So
so what was that like that first year? Like when you're just hanging out, the team, it's like sort of a mismatched team, of random pieces because there was no portal. Guys left, guys came in. It was a new offense. And you're in a very demanding coach that, he wants it down to the penny. And like he had come from Navy where those dudes could do that. If you tell them to take one step to the right or whatever on every play, they'll take exactly one step. What
mhm.
was it like to make that adjustment to playing for Coach Johnson and Coach Siwak?
Well, it was a transition, and we always kind of knew if we bought in that we would be very, very successful. And guys eventually bought in. It took some time, but guys eventually bought in. To the system, and everybody wanted to be great within what they were doing. So once you kind of realize that, hey, this is what we're working with, either you're going to win or you're not going to win. So eventually guys kind of bought in. I think I was not officially redshirted until like the first or second game of the season, and even then, I remember we played VT. I traveled against VT because there was an opportunity for me to possibly play because AJ Smith got hurt, so he was backup guard, backup left guard, and there was a possibility for me to play then. But I wasn't officially redshirted until then, and it was just one of those things where I stayed ready. I got hurt during camp. I hurt my ankle during camp, and that was probably the deciding factor as to why I didn't necessarily take it to the next level. I didn't know the offense like that either, so it was one of those things where it was just a combination of things, and eventually led to me getting redshirted, which was awesome for my career, just because I got to learn the offense, like I said, and also get bigger, faster, stronger. So as well as get adjusted to life on campus. So
And then you kind of step in the next year, and then you were kind of ran from there. It's funny because you're the guy that held down that right guard spot for so
hmm
long.
hmm
That was the linchpin. You actually kept Shaq over on the other side,
yep,
Shaq Mason.
yep,
And that
yep.
was one of the funny
Shaq was the
things.
guy. Yeah, Shaq was the guy for sure. So
Um, but kind of going into that 2009 year, did you guys think you upset Georgia? The bowl game was obviously kind of ugly with LSU, but did you think that you guys were going to have a special season in '09, like when you go into that, or were you too young to maybe register all of that?
I knew some guys were going to be special for sure. I remember seeing Demarius Thomas. Like we're in the dining hall, and he had like his own meals. Like he had like his own specific meals to as where he was eating like rabbit food. So so like he was just eating chicken and rice or just things like that, essentially to get his body in shape and be the special player he was. So I knew he was doing things that were special. I knew we had some special guys on the team beforehand as well. '08, we had some special guys for sure. From John Dwyer to, like I said, Josh Nesbitt, Morgan Burnett, even Roddy did his thing when he got the opportunity to, um, and some other guys as well. Derek Morgan, just guys who showed out. So I knew that we were going to be pretty good. I did not see us losing to anybody, so that was always my mentality. I don't see us losing to anybody, or expect to lose going to any game. If we were going to lose, you have to surprise me. You have to show me. So it's just one of those things where, I expect to win every game. To be honest with you, but that's kind of how I took things, one game at a time. And if you're across from me, I'm not expecting to lose. So
That I remember that season. You had the weird game at Miami. You had played, I think, 3 times in like less
10
than
days.
yeah
Yeah.
10 days or whatever it was.
Mhm.
Yeah, and everybody got hurt. I think it was Robert Hall like broke his leg or whatever it was in that game.
Yeah. Unfortunate. Unfortunate.
Yeah, and other than that, you guys pretty much were cooking all the way to the end of the season, and then the
Yeah, it was
Georgia
pretty
game.
awesome. It was pretty
What
awesome.
I remember the Virginia Tech game that year and the Wake Forest game, like kind of those were sort of some real kind of seminal moments watching like just what the stadium was like at that point, like how engaged people were with
Mm-hmm.
which road. How fun was that to like go through all that?
It was pretty awesome, man. That was the first time somebody ever stormed the field against VT. Against VT, that was so awesome. You know, I got a little bit of tech on those games. I think the first time I really got some real playing time was against Miami.
Mhm.
So I played Jacksonville State that year. I played Miami that year. I didn't play the second game. I forgot we played the second game of the season, but I didn't play the second game of the season. I
Oh,
think
it was the Clemson
Clemson,
game
yeah,
where
Clemson. I played like 3 plays maybe.
with the
Um,
fake
yeah,
field goal
fake
touchdown.
field goal
Yeah.
touchdown to Bebe.
Yep.
Yep. So we played Clemson, and my first home game from Roll Tick was against Miami. You know, Court had got hurt, and I got in at right guard, and you know, I was like, yeah, you know, it's not too crazy. I think I could do something here, you know. So it was pretty awesome. And then against UNC again, I got some real playing time again. You know, a lot of playing time against UNC. I remember I forget his name, Marvin. Do you remember I'm talking about? D tackle Marvin.
Oh yeah. Shoot. I can't remember
Yeah, man, but he was like a 5-star guy. So I remember going against him and some other guys like that, and I was like, okay,
was it
yeah,
Marvin Austin? Was that his
Marvin
name?
Austin, Marvin Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Played
was
in the
like,
NFL.
yeah. I was like, I could definitely do this, you know. So it's just one of those things where just building confidence here and there. I remember Dominique Reese, you know, showing me some love after the game. It's like, yeah, you know, you did your thing. I saw you out there. You know, just one of those things where guys kind of recognize you and you build a little confidence, and
Mhm.
went from there. But DT, I played a little bit, but the celebration was well worth the lack of playing time, of course, you know. And then Wake Forest, just seeing us be doing this thing, and that touchdown was awesome, man. So, you know, Wake Forest was an awesome game as well.
Was it interesting? Like they kind of brought you along that first, yeah, the '09 you didn't start, but you were playing some and getting those opportunities. Did that help to have that sort of gradual build up instead of just being thrown to the wolves and like, hey, you're playing? And I know you probably wanted to play, but was it helpful to kind of go through that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, they say bad film is not a good thing. So, you know, you don't want that bad film at all, you know. So you know, I guess it's great that I didn't have so much bad film, of course, you know, because I did not learn the offense really until that year. It was one of those things where you know, you learn in group settings, but I had like a certain class schedule as to where I couldn't make the meeting right before practice. So I had to do an individual meeting with Coach Seawalk
Oh, okay.
beforehand. So it wasn't until I got those one-on-one sessions with them my sophomore year, my freshman year or sophomore year, until I really learned the offense. And once I learned the offense, and it was just understanding, okay, well, you know, I knew from high school as well, you know, but it's just one of those things where I was just so much better than everybody in high school. Wasn't as necessary to be um, locked in. You know, I was more so learning from my teammates in high school. In college, once I learned the offense, of course, you know, you learn for yourself, and then I got to the point where I can learn from my teammates and kind of affect the game in different ways from where I was at as a guard. So, um, you know, it gave me a great opportunity to not have terrible film, of course, and then get into my sophomore year and make second team All ACC. So, or my redshirt sophomore year, make it second team All ACC. So,
Yeah, and start every game that season.
hmm
Obviously you guys win the ACC championship in '09, and then that 2010 season, that's that Nesbitt for Heisman, and you
hmm
guys are in the top 20. Then you go to Kansas and play like at 11 a.m.
oh
I'll
my
never
goodness,
forget.
yeah, that was
It was
terrible.
like probably the worst game, one of the worst games of Coach Johnson's tenure,
Terrible game. Yeah.
and you guys were so mad.
hmm
um, just what happened? Like, what do you remember about that? That is such like a
I remember they
weird.
ran a funky off defense. You know, they were in a triple stack. You know, so just getting everybody on the same page is one of those things where our offense is really fluid. You know, so it's in real time. You kind of make decisions. You know, it's options. So you make reads and you make decisions in real time. So we're making calls, people are moving around, all that good stuff. We never really got it down packed as an offense, and it was just bad game by defense, offense through and through. So and we still almost won. I remember talking to Steve Hill about that. He had like a bad play, and I was like, man, Steve, like we're gonna need you later on in the game. He made like a big catch toward the end of the game, I think.
Yeah,
So
40-yard touchdown.
yeah, so just one of those things where I was like, talking to Steve about that, and I was like, just putting things in perspective, like, dude, like you going to the NFL after this, so it's like, just do your thing, and do your time, do your thing, and get to the next level. Just one of those things like that. Just kind of keeping them encouraged, and I remember that, of course, and just all the guys who were playing, and just wasn't our best game at all. So it wasn't our best game at all, but you
I
know,
think people didn't realize like how much y'all had lost off. You lost Bebe, you lost Derek Morgan, who was the
mm,
basically and Morgan Burnett. Like
mm,
you lost a lot from the prior year and Dwyer and all that, and like
mm,
everyone had all these assumptions about how you guys would play, but it was sort of I, it is one of those funny things talking to Coach Johnson over the years. Like he would get annoyed when the team was picked high and they probably shouldn't have been. And there were a few different times that happened.
mm,
I think he felt like that season was a little bit like the team was a little bit of flux, and then
mm.
obviously everything goes off the rails towards the back end of the season when Nesbitt broke his arm at Virginia Tech, and
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I feel like we were in every game. Even against Miami, I remember just a couple plays where I made some mess ups, and I was like, man, if I had seen that, from the eye in the sky way back when, this is a 10-yard play instead of a loss. It's just certain things like that. I remember playing Miami, and the middle linebacker was pretty nice as well, but yeah, yeah, just understanding like, hey, if we just did a couple things different to change the momentum of the game, it would have been a totally different game that season. So Miami, who else we play?
well, the Georgia game was an insane game
Georgia
because
game
like
was really close until the field goal, unfortunately, which
yep,
was terrible, but you can't put that on him at all. Uh,
no, I mean
yeah, 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 it was unfortunate. Fortunate circumstance. Of course, we could have made some stops. We could have, made some plays as to where we move forward as well. And you can't put anything on one play. But Georgia game was in particular crazy. I remember played who we play. Who else did we play? We blew out.
the game at Wake where I think it was Corey Earls that had the like
We
the
we beat
touchdown.
Wake. We beat
Yeah,
Wake,
you
right?
guys beat
Yeah.
them that was
Mhm.
basically the game that really got y'all in a bowl game because like
Yeah, 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 yeah,
that
yeah.
was the one that Coach Johnson always joked about. He goes, the dude would have like dropped that pass a bunch of times, and this is the one time he like caught the ball and was
Yeah.
wide open, and that was why you guys went to Shreveport for the Independence Bowl.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shreveport was a crazy game too, man. So
That was that I mean that's the worst bowl game I think I've covered.
oh my goodness.
Maybe that or Detroit. Like
I didn't go
Coach
to
Johnson
Detroit.
last,
I didn't go to Detroit.
but yeah, the Independence Bowl. I just remember everyone was pissed and no one wanted to be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Um,
it was what it was. We could have did some things different that game too. They knew us, and we couldn't cut off that backside lineman to save our lives. I remember that. For whatever reason, and of course, some special teams plays that kind of was tough, and just some
yeah,
other plays as
DJ
well.
with the drop punts. Yeah,
Yeah,
muff punts. Or
yeah, that's
DJ.
my guy. That's my guy, man. So I
He's a
try.
great dude. I just
Yeah, I
felt
try
so
to bring
bad
it up,
for him.
man. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was just unfortunate opportunities that we missed, through and through. But therefore, it should have never, I'm being arrogant, of course, but it should have never came down to a muff punt or two. So
Well, it's funny because they're like the one team that played all the option teams, so like
Mhm.
they probably had like a little bit of advantage there in terms of defending it because
Yep,
see it
yep,
multiple times a year because they're playing Navy and Army and all that.
yep, yep, yep. Very much so. Very much so.
Um, then you go into your next season, you start to. I feel like that's the point where you start to really kind of get on people's radar as a player,
Yep.
like in the 11 season, and start to really kind of become one of the more dominant guards in the ACC. Is that when you kind of feel like you kicked it up to the next level?
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, just understanding the offense was probably the most important thing. I had some injuries as well throughout my career, unfortunately, but um, just really picking up the offense and being able to like I said, affect the offense from where I was at to help my teammates. Help Tyler Kidney. I remember Tyler Kidney was a starter.
Tyler Kidney. I hadn't thought
Yeah,
about
walk
Tyler
on.
Kidney in a long
Yeah,
time.
not Tyler was nice. Just
Yep.
confidence thing, and he was a guy like you had a hold kind of close to you and like, dude, like you're playing, man. So if you're out here, you're out here. Just do your thing, and these guys are not as good as the papers say they are. They're as good as you make them or you allow them to be. So just one of those things where I just had a he's a younger guy than me, of course, and he's a walk on, so it's just it was a confidence thing you had to kind of instill in him to help him kind of get where he needed to be, of course. And when he showed out, he showed out. So Tyler, I remember Tyler was playing. I remember my guy. Um, who else played that year? Will Jackson was a
Um,
guy that played a lot. Yeah, my guy Nick McCray was able to play a couple games and do his thing, of course.
you had
Uh,
Will and Will Jackson
Jay
and
Finch, Ray
yep.
Bino. hmm Yeah, so just really, really, really knowing those guys and being able to play with these guys and Nick Clater, of course, some other guys like that. Um, really, no, I think Nick Clater was gone.
He was gone by then. Yeah,
Yeah, he was
that
gone. He
was I
was
think
gone.
his last year was the year
Yeah,
before. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, but just like I said, understanding the offense, being able to affect the offense from where I was at, and understand to make calls, just help my teammates out, talk to Tevin about certain things. I'm going for Tevin. Technically, man, he was one of those guys that he was not going to mess up a read, so he was a very sound QB for sure. We were very close, and it was one of those things where we took it upon ourselves to make sure that we were buttoned up, and we tried to help others become that too. Orange Smith was one of those guys too. Of course, Roddy Jones. That was Roddy Jones senior year, correct?
Yeah, that would have. I think
Roddy
so.
Jones, Tyler Milton. A lot of guys like that who were leaders and really really great players. Rambo, my boy, my boy, Julian Burnett, man, was a monster,
Oh
man.
yeah.
I wish we would have had him our senior year, of course, but Rambo was a beast out there, man. So
Is that at that point, like I think you start to see like the physical toll of playing all those games and all the practices and the even high school years and stuff. How was it like physically for you at the point? I know you started to have different injuries. Just how like hard was it to keep your body fresh? You're young still, but like I imagine you start getting
Man,
beat up.
it was a culmination of things. Just understanding what I know now. Number one is how you eat, of course. So how you eat is I look at my body from my freshman year to my senior year. My gut was it was just that down the hall food, man. The down the hall food in McDonald's on North Side. So those two things took me out, of course. So the food was one of those things where just keeping my weight in control as far as how I looked and how I felt was one of those things. I hadn't squatted until my senior year when I linked up with Jacob Linowski.
Okay.
So Jacob left after Coach Johnson came, of course, and became a scrum coach. And it wasn't until my senior year when I linked up with Jacob Linowski and he kind of put me through the ringer as far as just understanding how to unlock my hips, how to strengthen certain things that I needed to be strong to be a great player. Um, did I really have an opportunity to kind of change my life and change my career trajectory through my senior year? Without him, I don't think I would have been able to play my senior year. To be honest with you, so
Yeah, yeah. It seemed like in that 2012 season you could tell that you were really having to work to get yourself in a position to play, and you played I think all 14
mhm.
games right that year and started all
Yep, yep,
14 games.
yep, 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 yep. So it was unfortunate, man. I had like a knee injury. I could say now, I had an osteochondral defect in my right knee. Going into after the UGA game, of course. So osteochondral defect is essentially just a quarter inch of cartilage. A certain percentage of cartilage is gone from your right knee, gone from whatever joint you're in. So osteochondral defect. Um, I had a torn hamstring. So
Oh,
torn
geez.
hamstring from my senior high school. So which was
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, so I had that and that going on. So left leg torn hamstring, right knee, osteochondral defect going into my senior year, and it was just one of those things where that's really the NFL. Where the NFL thing kind of came to a halt, just because I had so many things going on as far as my physical goes. It was just hard for a team to take a chance on me. So
How I mean, how hard was it to like? I imagine that was crushing, like for you, and it seemed
yeah,
like at the
I
time you
spent
were bummed out.
I spent about a year trying to get back into it, but I didn't know the game like that, So it's one of those things where if you know how the game is played, you can understand how to get where you want to go, So it's one of those things where, to my knowledge, right, how it works is once the draft happens,
Mhm.
you're no longer evaluated as a college player. You're evaluated as a pro. So if you're not a
Yep.
pro film, you're on practice film, then it's dang near impossible to get yourself in there unless you have like a connection with somebody or an in somewhere, of course. And I told myself I get myself in the best shape. I do this, I do that, of course, and see where I can take it. Of course, I got in better shape, but at the same time, it just was unfortunate as to where I couldn't get a look. So, going to the next year, told myself that CFL may not be the thing for me. So just called it a career for the most part, and just shifted my mindset to what I was doing on a day to day basis within the work world. So
So let's just flash back for a minute to your college career.
mhm.
What was what's like the first thing you think of when you think about like playing your playing days, like at JOL?
Oh man, just all the downtime we had for the most part, just being around the city and just the fun that we had outside of football, of course. So there was a football aspect that's a blur, man. I'm not gonna lie, you're unlocking a lot of memories right now. But
That's
that
what
was a
happens.
blur.
Yeah.
On the field. I try not to think about it too much. I not try not to think about it, but I just don't really harp on it too much. It's one of those things where it taught me a lot about myself and how to operate and just kind of how to transition some of the things that I learned on the field to off the field and in corporate and all that good stuff. But I try not. I don't think about it too much as far as on the field, but off the field, we had a lot of fun. So.
It seems like there's just like switch you have to make. Like, hey, I'm in this world, and now I'm switching into the business world, right?
Mhm.
Like, how hard was that to make that transition for you to at 20 something years old to be like, hey, this football's been my identity for the last 8 years or whatever, 9 years probably at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah. I had a lot of help, man. I had a lot of help, honestly. So I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't as difficult as it may have been for others, but just building that confidence to talk about myself was a steep hill for me. I'm not gonna lie. So I accomplished a lot while I was playing, and being able to say, "Hey, my name is Omoregie Uzzi. I've done this, this, and this. It applies to this, this, and this." It wasn't the easiest thing, because I felt myself being a humble guy, or just a guy that never really talks about my accomplishments like that. I just, hey, I'm gonna show you. I'm just gonna I'm gonna go on the field and do my thing. It's just as far as my work goes. But it's one of those things where it took a lot of time to really build the confidence and not have that anxiety. Cause I struggle with anxiety a little bit. To really just put myself out there and have conversations with people about what I've done. So and it just takes practice, of course. You can't shy away from it. It's like anything else. If you want to get bigger, faster, stronger, you have to get bigger, faster, stronger. Literally, you have to do the work to get bigger, faster, stronger. So you want to be a better conversationalist. You have to have conversations. So essentially, with more conversations, more practice, eventually became an opportunity for me to kind of parlay my career into what it is right now.
So let everybody know what you're up to these days.
Yeah. So, I work in talent. I worked in talent acquisition for the past 13 years. So, talent acquisition essentially is finding talent for companies. So, I have a business called Champion Talent Consulting. That's where I partner with different companies at different capacities for the most part. From a retained basis, I like to work from a retained basis as to where I get paid up front, of course. And partner with companies, kind of get some buy-in from them, and work the search all the way to the close, as to where, like I said, I'm partnering with them to find specific talent for them. And of course, I get the back end of the payment after the close of the search. So for the most part, I enjoy working in the talent acquisition space. Period. I'm having talks with some companies, some nonprofits right now to work for their workforce development um, bridge. Of course, the workforce development arm of what they do. Of course.
Mhm.
So being able to find people careers as well is something I'm very passionate about. So partnering with people in general, just to um, fulfill that aspect of their life, as to where we're working, we're building economically, we're working towards something. So that's what's important to me. That's what I like to do. Really just see people be their best selves. Essentially through their work. Economically, of course. So, yeah. So,
I mean, you're kind of. I'm an introverted guy, kind of quiet,
mm.
and you were like that. How difficult has it been to make that transition into something that's obviously like a field where you have to be outgoing and to approach
You don't
people
necessarily
and
have to be outgoing. Just you have to be yourself. You have to, like I said, kind of be yourself for the most part. Be comfortable talking about yourself, talking about your journey, what you learn, and what you experience. As long as you're comfortable with that, then you don't necessarily have to be any type of person. Or have a certain kind of personality. Just from my experience, at least, just your stuff from your perspective, of course, and being able to share with people. I know I'm driven by results of having somebody find a job and change their family's lives. There are different ways to kind of see things, of course, and I want to see myself as doing God's work. As to where I'm like I said, changing lives and building businesses and building opportunities for people to change their lives, others' lives, and do positive things within their own families' lives and community. So that's what's important to me.
what was it like in the call or however you found out about the Georgia Tech Sports Hall of Fame?
Oh man, I was excited. I was over. I was, I was over the moon, man. So I'm not gonna lie. I was really excited about it. Um, Grateful, honored, all those words. As far as just being um, you know, chosen to be in this position. So I'm really excited about it. Of course, and excited for what's to come. Of course, so I'm really happy to be in this position right now.
Is it cool that Coach Johnson's going in with you?
It's very cool. It's very cool. I haven't spoken to him about it. I gave him a call, but Coach Johnson called me back. Um,
I'll text him and tell him to give you a
yeah,
call.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll call him again. He'll probably answer. This is probably the first time that he hasn't picked up. Probably because his phone's getting blown up since I called. Since I have called him. I called him a few times since we transitioned from player coach dynamic, and
Hmm.
he's picked up every time. So, I'll say, it's really an honor to be inducted with Coach Johnson. Just understanding what he's done for GT, what he's done for countless lives, and just being who he is. It's really really exciting to be a part of it with him. So.
What are a couple things you learned from Georgia Tech being at Georgia Tech? And one of the things I think a lot of people on the outside don't understand is like how difficult the process is as a student athlete at Georgia Tech versus you talk about, Virginia, Alabama, Georgia, those places, like the academics, while strong at some of those places, are not the same as Georgia Tech. What
Mhm.
did you kind of take away from that experience of everyone says talks about getting out, right? Like that's the joke. What did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, it takes a village, even with prospecting for my business, it's one of those things where if you put yourself out there, especially as a person, to say I want to be successful, usually the universe allows you to be successful. There are a lot of obstacles, of course, that you go through and that um, you know, um, um, yeah, like I said, that happened to you. Of course, it happened to you that you experience. But it's one of those things where if you're determined to be successful, you'll find success. And if you find that success, no matter how big and small, and decide to build on it, you'll be further than you were, when you first started. So it's not about the crazy title. It's not about the crazy money. Not about the crazy opportunity. It's about you and your individual success and being further than where you were to begin with. So GT, I think just about every single person in my class graduated who wanted to graduate, even the guys who ended up leaving or being forced out for whatever reason, they graduated from their respective places. I think everybody in my class graduated, and I think we set a precedent. I think it was very intentional for Coach Johnson to have that happen, and it was one of those things where guys, said, hey, look, we don't know what's going to happen with our careers, but we're going to make the most out of the situation, and we're going to get ours. So all my guys graduated, and we're doing well. So it's exciting to see where how far we've come as a family from GT. So
It's funny. I saw you, I think, on campus, like maybe a year or two after you graduated, and you trimmed down tremendously, and that whole journey. Like how much have you lost, like since you were playing?
Oh man, so it's been a journey, man. I gained, I lost, I gained, I lost.
Sure.
So if we had this conversation in 2021, you would have seen me at my playing weight.
Oh
So
wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So it's one of those things where it's constant battle, decision making, of course. And just the Lord willing, being healthy enough to change the situation. I didn't feel good enough to change my situation in 2021. So, and the moment I decided to stop feeling sorry for myself and, do what I could, like I said, the Lord blessed me to do more, so it was just, it's just being grateful, and a little bit of luck, of course. Like I said, a little bit of luck and God's grace, of course. So just happy to be active. I tell myself every single day that I'm thankful to be able to wake up when I wake up and go out there and be active. Because everybody's not able. So everybody's not able to have that mindset for one, and everybody's not able physically to do so. Some people have much tougher obstacles to cross than others when it comes to um, you know being active and other things like that. So I'm just happy to be you know able. So
Are there any of your former teammates you're still like particularly close to?
From time to time, we rock. A lot of guys. So it was great hearing from a lot of those guys. When I got the Hall of Fame induction, of course, and it's all love with everyone. For me. So
Cool. And was there maybe a favorite moment from your playing career, like a favorite game, favorite play, anything that sticks out in your mind when you think back just to that, the actual on the field?
oh man, there are too many to name. Too many to name. Too many to
Is there
name.
a
Sure.
favorite block or like dude you pancaked or something or
Nah, nah, no. It's just cool to see some of the guys that I played doing their thing right now. I remember playing Grady when he was a freshman. Man, I knew he was gonna be very good. Grady Jarrett.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember he came to a camp the first
mhm.
year that I was covering y'all, and we all looked at him. He was like my height. And I was like, "Oh, there's no way this dude's gonna play
Right,
like
right.
E5 football or whatever it was at
Right.
that time." And then
He becomes who he is
E6, I
right
guess at
now.
the time, and
Yeah.
then he ends up being this great NFL player. And it's just like,
Hmm.
wow.
Yeah, he's one of my
He's-
favorites. He's one of my favorites, man. Grady's a great guy. Just rapping with him after the game when we played them, and just seeing his career blossom from to what it is right now. It's pretty awesome. So
Cool. Well, I appreciate your time and congratulations. And it's amazing to see like just how guys are blossoming in different ways. Obviously, you found your niche off the field. If you want, give your company out one more time in case people want to get in
yeah,
touch
yeah,
with
of
you.
course. My company is Champion Talent Consulting. So www.championtalentconsulting.com, or feel free to reach out to me via social media. I definitely need to make some social media for Champion. I won't give out my Kelly will give out my personal social media if y'all want to.
I'll
It's a
drop a
little
link
silly.
in the video
It's
if
a
you guys
silly
want to
college
find me.
thing, but one of my favorite rappers is just a play on his name, of course. But
Oh, okay.
yeah. So it's funny, but
No,
it's
I know that. I got some stuff that's still like linked to things from like
yeah.
decisions I made at
It's
like
my
20, you know?
my personal social media. So feel free to reach out to me via Facebook. My Facebook is Omoregie Uzzi. If you guys want to reach out to me via Facebook or via email, if I can put my email anywhere, I'll put that there as well. My
Cool.
business email. And like I said, Kelly, thank you so much, man. It's been awesome rapping with you, talking with you, and thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Morgan. It's awesome to see you doing so well, and I think people will be excited to just kind of see what you've been up to and hear these stories because like there's so many untold stories from we get so focused on what's going on now that sometimes we lose sight of things in the past and I want to make
Mhm.
sure to tell stories about guys like yourself that may obviously your former teammate Shax had this amazing career as a guard in the same
Yeah, man.
system and a similar
Yeah,
kind of path as you and he was lucky and didn't have the medical stuff that you had and
yeah. I'm
so
extremely I'm extremely proud of Shaq. Just it's my guy, man. So extremely proud to see what he's been able to accomplish, and I hope he accomplishes more. I know he's capable of more, and I know he should be recognized as one of the top guys in the league right now. But he Pro Football Focus does gives him that, but for whatever reason, he doesn't get it, from the Pro Bowl or just other opportunities like that. So hopefully he gets that recognition soon. So
well, and the cool thing with him is he's stayed like the same kind of he's exactly the same as the kid I met when he was 16 or whatever. Like
yeah, for
he
sure.
hasn't changed at all. And Bebe was like that too. Bebe didn't really,
Hmm.
he was still the shy kind of dude that he
Hmm.
was when, I met him, unfortunately.
Yeah,
You
rest
know,
in peace, man. Rest in peace.
yeah.
Peace.
Eh,
Great dude.
but so and that's part of it too. Like I want to tell people stories while they're still around, and these
Hmm.
videos hopefully live on forever for people. So like your kids or whatever can see this down the line. Like, hey, my dad was this football player or whatever, or cousins or family members. I've been thinking more and more about this like over the last few years. I lost a guy who worked for me back in December. So like
Rest in peace.
yeah, so it's been more on my mind to like kind of catch up with people like yourself, and even I'm gonna try to go back further as I can. But I really
Nah, of
appreciate
course.
you jumping on with us, man.
Nah, thank you. Thank you. The pleasure is mine.
Awesome.